I died on a rainy Tuesday in October, choking on the bitter pills I'd swallowed because the world had convinced me I was nothing without him. The last thing I remembered was the cold tile of my Manhattan studio floor pressing against my cheek, the distant wail of sirens that never quite reached me in time. But death wasn't the end. It was a goddamn reset button, hurling me back 25 years to the exact moment I let that bastard first plant the seed of doubt in my soul. My name is Jasmine Hale, and when I opened my eyes that morning in 1998, I wasn't the broken 48-year-old executive who'd jumped from the ledge of her own shattered dreams. No, I was 23 again, fresh out of NYU with a business degree still crisp in my backpack, staring at the cracked ceiling of my Queens walk-up, heart pounding like I'd just run the marathon. The alarm clock blared some forgotten grunge hit, Nirvana, maybe, and for a split second, I thought it was a dream. Then the memories crashed in, the boardroom betrayals, the whispered affairs, the way he'd laughed when I dared to pitch my startup idea. "Stick to fetching coffee, Jazz," he'd said, his voice dripping with that fake Southern charm he used to mask his venom. Derek Voss, the man who'd stolen everything from me. Twice, now, if I let history repeat. I sat up, gasping, my hands, young, unscarred hands, clutching the threadbare sheets. This wasn't heaven or hell. This was purgatory with a second chance. I'd clawed my way up in my first life, only to watch Derek sabotage me at every turn. He was the golden boy at Voss and Hale Investments, the firm my father co-founded before cancer took him when I was 16. Derek married into the family legacy by charming my widowed mother, then waited like a vulture until she passed to consolidate power. My big break came in 2000, when I pitched HaleNet, a revolutionary online networking platform for entrepreneurs, way ahead of its time. Derek called it cute, poached my code from the intern server, rebranded it as VossLink, and launched it under his name. When I confronted him, he gaslit me into thinking I'd imagined it, then leaked doctored emails making it look like I'd embezzled funds. Fired, blacklisted, I spiraled, lost my apartment, my friends, my will to fight. The pills were my exit, but not before Derek toasted my tragic fall at the company holiday party. Now, fuck that. I swung my legs over the bed, the wooden floor cool under my bare feet. The calendar on the wall screamed September 15th, 1998, 3 weeks before my internship interview at Voss and Hale. This time, I'd walk in armed. I'd build HaleNet my way, expose Derek's skeletons, and make sure the world saw him for the fraud he was. But revenge isn't clean. It's a dirty game, and in America, where ambition is king and betrayal is just Tuesday, I'd have to play filthy to win. I showered fast, the hot water stinging like a wake-up slap, and dug through my closet for the one decent blazer I'd splurged on with student loan scraps. Mirror check. Wide brown eyes, kinky curls pulled into a no-nonsense bun, full lips set in a line that said, "Try me." At 23, I looked like fire waiting to ignite. In my old life, I'd let Derek douse that flame with his advice. Tone it down, smile more, don't rock the boat. This time, the boat was getting capsized. The subway ride to Midtown was a blur of fluorescent lights and ad posters for .com startups promising the world. I clutched my notebook, pages filled with frantic scribbles from my future self. HaleNet's core algorithms, user privacy protocols Derek would later butcher for profit, and the offshore accounts he'd used to launder kickbacks from shady investors. Knowledge was my weapon now, sharper than any knife. Voss and Hale loomed on the 50th floor of a glass tower that screamed old money, new greed. The lobby smelled of polished marble and fresh coffee, receptionists in pencil skirts typing away like cogs in a machine. Jasmine Hale for the internship interview, I told the guard, flashing a smile that didn't reach my eyes. He buzzed me up, and the elevator hummed like a countdown. When the doors parted, there he was, Derek Voss, 28 and already VP, schmoozing a cluster of suits by the water cooler. Tall, blonde, with that easy grin that hid teeth ready to bite. Our eyes met across the room, and for a heartbeat, something flickered in his. Recognition? No, impossible. But my stomach twisted anyway. "Miss Hale," he said, striding over with a handshake that lingered too long. "Heard a lot about your old man. Legacy like that? You'll fit right in." I pulled my hand back, forcing a laugh. "Hoping to make my own mark, Mr. Voss. No riding coattails here." His chuckle was all charm, but I saw the calculation underneath. Ambitious. I like that. Come on, let's get you settled. The interview was a formality, me versus a panel of graying execs who nodded at my resume like it was a relic. I dazzled them with talk of emerging tech, blockchain precursors I shouldn't have known about yet. But hell, who was fact-checking in '98? Derek sat in the corner, arms crossed, watching like a hawk. When they offered me the spot on the spot, he clapped me on the back. Welcome aboard, Jazz. Lunch to celebrate. I hesitated, old habits dying hard, but nodded. Knowledge is power, and I needed intel. Over Cobb salads at a corner bistro, he probed. Dreams, fears, that fire in my belly. I played coy, dropping just enough about my networking app idea to bait the hook. His eyes lit up, predatory. Sounds disruptive. Ever thought of partnering with someone established? Not yet, I said, sipping my iced tea. But I'm open to the right fit. By week's end, I was in, junior analyst, buried in spreadsheets, but with server access that'd make a hacker weep. Nights blurred into code sessions in my shoebox apartment. HailNet taking shape on a clunky desktop while the city pulsed outside. Derek started mentoring me, late drinks, casual feedback that always circled back to submission. You're sharp, Jazz, but Wall Street eats dreamers. Let me guide you. I let him think he was winning, all while documenting every pilfered glance at my files, every offhand comment that'd bury him later. The first crack in his armor came at the company retreat in the Hamptons, a booze-soaked weekend where alliances shifted like sand. Around the bonfire, stories flowed, war tales from the '87 crash, whispers of affairs that could topple empires. Derek, 3 whiskeys deep, let slip about his side hustle, funneling firm cash into a rival hedge fund run by his cousin, skimming just enough to stay under radar. I filed it away, heart racing. Blackmail material, served on a silver platter. But revenge needed patience. Rush it, and I'd be the one in the crosshairs. Back in the city, I networked quietly. Coffee with profs from NYU, cold calls to Silicon Valley nobodies who'd become VCs. HailNet's beta was rough, but revolutionary. Secure peer-to-peer connections for freelancers, predating LinkedIn by years. I coded in caffeine-fueled bursts, ignoring the ache of isolation. Friends from school drifted, too busy chasing their own hustles, and Mom's old letters in the drawer reminded me why I fought. For the Hail name, tarnished but unbroken. October brought the first test. Derek called me into his office, door half shut like he owned the shadows. Heard you're moonlighting on that app. Cute hobby, but focus on billables, yeah? We don't need distractions. I met his gaze, unflinching. It's more than a hobby, Derek. Could change everything. He leaned back, fingers steepled. Ambition's a double-edged sword, Jazz. Swing too wild, you cut yourself. Then, softer. Look, I see potential in you. Ditch the side gig, and I'll fast-track you to associate. Real money. Stability. The offer hung like smoke. Tempting, treacherous. In my first life, I'd bitten, trading dreams for a paycheck that chained me. This time, appreciate it, I said coolly. But HailNet's my future. Pass. His smile tightened, a hairline fracture. Suit yourself. Just don't say I didn't warn you. That night, I hit a dive bar in the East Village, nursing a gin and tonic while Jazz scratched from a jukebox. A stranger slid onto the stool next, tall, tattooed, with eyes like storm clouds. Rough day, he asked, voice gravelly with a Brooklyn edge. Rough life? I shot back, but there was no bite. We talked for hours. Him a freelance coder named Marco, scraping by on gigs. Me, spinning half-truths about corporate cages. By closing time, numbers exchanged, a spark ignited. Not love, but alliance. Marco saw the code, whistled low. This? Gold. But you'll need servers, beta testers. I know people. Partnership born in neon glow. We met in coffee shops, his ink-smeared notebooks meshing with my visions. Derek's shadow loomed, though subtle sabotage, like accidentally reassigning my projects to grunts. I pushed harder, pitching HailNet to angel investors in lofts overlooking the Hudson. Rejection stung, but each no honed me sharper. Thanksgiving loomed, the city emptying like a ghost town. I flew to Mom's grave in Jersey, laying tulips on the stone while wind whipped my coat. I'm fixing it, Ma, I whispered. For us. Back home, Marco crashed my solo feast, take-out turkey and bad wine, swearing we'd launch by spring. Optimism tasted sweet, but doubt gnawed. Derek was circling, his mentoring turning to veiled threats. Heard you're consorting with outsiders. Careful, Jazz. Reputations precede you. I laughed it off, but sleep evaded. In dreams, the pills reformed in my throat, Derek's face morphing into a mask of triumph. Wake up fighting, I told myself. The game's just starting. Winter bit hard that year, snow blanketing Manhattan like a shroud over secrets waiting to thaw. Hailnet grew in stolen hours. Marco and I hunkered in his Bushwick warehouse, surrounded by humming servers and pizza boxes, debugging lines that could rewrite the internet. You're a machine, Jazz, he'd say, passing me a Red Bull. What demon possessed you? If only he knew. My demon had a corner office and a Rolex that ticked like a bomb. Derek amped up the pressure, pulling me into endless meetings where he'd accidentally share my ideas with the brass, crediting himself with a wink. Team effort, right? The old me would have nodded, swallowed the bile. New me? I started countering, subtly at first, like CCNG execs on emails praising my innovative contributions. Whispers spread. Jasmine Hale, the wild card. By January 99, beta invites went out to 100 freelancers culled from Craigslist ads and NYU alumni lists. Feedback flooded in, clunky UI, but game-changing security. Marco high-fived me over lukewarm beer. VCs will eat this up. We targeted a demo at TechCrunch's Precursor, a sweaty conference in a Soho loft packed with venture bros in hoodies and khakis. I pitched in heels that pinched, voice steady. HailNet isn't just a tool. It's freedom for the hustlers Wall Street ignores. Applause rippled, cards exchanged. But Derek crashed the after-party, champagne flute in hand, cornering a balding investor eyed. Jasmine's got vision, he boomed, clapping my shoulder. But let's talk Voslink, my baby. Scalable, backed by real capital. The investor's eyes glazed, drifting his way. I seethed, but played nice, laughing at his jokes, probing for weaknesses. That's when he let slip the real dirt. His cousin's hedge fund? A front for insider trading, tips funneled from Voss and Hale's client lists. Quiet cash, Jazz. The kind that buys islands. Jackpot. I excused myself to the bathroom, splashing water on my face while adrenaline surged. This wasn't just payback, it was apocalypse for him. But exposure needed proof. Tapes, docs, something ironclad. Risky, sure, but in the land of the free and the cutthroat, fortune favored the bold. Or the vengeful. Back at the firm, I volunteered for the compliance audit. Ironic, given Derek's skeletons. Late nights in the server room, I mirrored drives onto thumb-sized disks hidden in my bra. His emails painted a Ponzi light. Kickbacks disguised as consulting fees, trades timed to client whispers. One thread chilled me. Mentions of my father, how Derek had nudged the board to oust him post-cancer, citing instability. The betrayal deepened. Dad's deathbed plea to protect the firm twisted into this viper's nest. Marco grew wary as I dove deeper. This reeks, Jazz. One wrong move, and you're collateral. We argued in his loft, city lights mocking us through grimy windows. It's personal, I admitted, voice cracking for the first time. Not the full truth. Can't spill about past lives over lo mein, but enough. He softened, pulled me into a hug that smelled of solder and smoke. Then we armor up. I'll handle the tech, you play the long game. Spring bloomed with venture buzz. A firm in Palo Alto bid $500K seed round, contingent on a full prototype. We celebrated at a rooftop bar, skyline glittering like promise. But Derek smelled blood, summoning me to his office with a manila folder. Leverage time, Jazz. Inside, printouts of my beta logs, timestamps matching unauthorized firm access. Forged, obviously, his MO from Life 1. Moonlighting on company time? That's termination. Or, sign this. Another NDA, ceding HailNet IP to Voss and Hale. I'll make you rich. Partner, even. Rage boiled, but I channeled it cool. You think this scares me? Try harder. I slid the folder back, standing tall. See you in the headlines, Derek. His face darkened, the mask slipping. You have no idea who you're fucking with, little girl. I did, though. All too well. That night, I leaked a teaser, anonymized audit snippet, to a finance blogger with a grudge against Wall Street wolves. The post went viral in niche circles. Insider trading at blue-chip firm? Derek scrambled, blaming rogue elements. But the SEC's hounds perked up. Voss and Hale stock dipped 3%. Board meetings turned tense. HailNet launched quietly in May, a soft open to 500 users. Sign-ups exploded. Writers, coders, artists ditching middlemen for direct gigs. Reviews called it the anti-LinkedIn, raw and real. Marco and I crashed on his couch, watching metrics climb. "We did it," he murmured, his hand finding mine. For a moment, the weight lifted, revenge secondary to this raw creation. But Derek struck back. June brought the smear. Anonymous tips to investors claiming HailNet was rip-off tech, laced with backdoors for data theft. My Palo Alto deal teetered, VCs ghosting calls. Paranoia set in, shadows in alleys, hang-ups on my landline. Marco insisted on security cams at the warehouse. I started carrying pepper spray shaped like a lipstick. The breaking point came at the firm's summer gala, black tie affair in the plaza's ballroom. I went as a guest, crashing with a +1 from PR. Derek held court by the chandelier, arm around a leggy blonde half his age, his future second wife, in my timeline. He spotted me, sauntered over with a flute of bubbly. "Slumming it, Jazz? Heard your little apps flopping. Told you, stick to the shadows." The old wound tore open, memories of my first downfall flashing. Evicted, jobless, pills scattering like confetti. But this Jasmine? She burned. Shadows are where rats hide, Derek. Like you, skimming from Dad's legacy. His grip tightened on the glass. "Careful, girl. One word from me, and you're done." "Already am," I hissed. "Ask the SEC about your cousin's gifts." He paled, then laughed, too loud, drawing eyes. Bluffing. Always were. But doubt flickered. As he stormed off, I slipped into the coat check, heart hammering. Time to escalate. Over the next weeks, I wove a web. Marco hacked public records. Legal, he swore, just creative scraping, uncovering Derek's college expulsion for plagiarism, buried under family pull. I fed it to the same blogger, timing it with HailNet's user surge to 10K. Media sniffed. Wall Street airs dark past? Derek lawyered up, but cracks showed. Bored whispers. His blonde bolting for a tech bro. Yet victory soured. A late-night call from Mom's old number. Wait, she was alive, vibrant at 52. "Jazzy? You sound distant. Everything okay?" Guilt stabbed. In my rush, I'd neglected her, burying grief in code. We met for brunch, her eyes searching mine over mimosas. "You're different, baby. Fiercer. But don't lose yourself chasing ghosts." Too late. The ghost chased me. July heat wave brought a stalker vibe. Tires slashed on my beater Honda. Email threats in block caps. Back off or burn. Derek? Or his cronies? Marco urged cops, but evidence was zilch. "Play dirty back," he said. We did, deploying HailNet's beta AI to trace IPs, nailing a Voss and Hale Jr. as the sender. Blackmail bait. August climaxed at a VC summit in the Javits Center, air thick with cologne and desperation. I pitched HailNet to a room of suits, nailing it, $2M term sheet in hand by cocktails. Derek lurked in the crowd, face thunderous. He cornered me by the bar, breath hot with scotch. "You think you're winning? I own this town." "Not anymore." I pulled a USB from my clutch, dangling it like a noose. "Your trades, your lies, Dad's sabotage, all here." One click to the journal. He lunged, subtle, a grab for the drive, but I sidestepped, spilling his drink on a passing exec. Chaos erupted, apologies flying. In the scuffle, I whispered, "End it, Derek. Resign quietly, or I unleash hell." He backed off, eyes wild. "You wouldn't. Not with your name on the line. Try me. Legacy be damned. Justice tasted better." That night, champagne with Marco on his roof, city sprawl at our feet. "To shutting down the mockers," he toasted. I clinked, but unease lingered. Twist incoming, I felt it in my bones. Derek's next move wouldn't be surrender. Fall leaves turned the parks to fire, mirroring the blaze in my veins as Derek's empire teetered. Voss and Hale reeled from the leaks. SEC probes announced in bold Times headlines. Stock plunging 15% overnight. Board ousted him as VP. Pending investigation, but he clawed back with spin. Witch hunt by disgruntled exes. Exes like me implied. My name surfaced in tabloids. In turn turned rival fuel scandal. Twisting HailNet into the villain's tool. Users dipped 20%. VCs hedged bets. Marco paced our war room. Now a proper office in Flatiron courtesy of seed cash. He's rallying. We need to hit harder. Harder meant controversial. Crossing lines I'd sworn off in life one. Deep fake, Marco suggested, eyes gleaming. Video of him confessing, spliced from old tapes. Ethics. Gray in Revenge's fog. I greenlit it, stomach churning as he worked nights, my voiceovers mimicking Derek's drawl. I took her idea. Framed her. It's all mine. Distributable via anonymous drops to podcasters hungry for clicks. The video dropped mid-October, viral in hours. Fox Business dissected it. CNBC called it the nail in Voss's coffin. Protests erupted outside Voss and Hale HQ. Freelancers chanting, "Justice for innovators." Derek holed up in his Upper East Side penthouse, lawyered to the hilt, suing Shadows for defamation. But the damage stuck. Clients fled. His cousin's fund shuddered under federal heat. I should have felt triumph, but isolation crept in. Mom distanced, hurt by your father's old partner's drama. Friends? Sparse. Marco and I blurred lines. Kisses in the code glow, his touch grounding the chaos. You're my anchor, I told him one dawn, tangled in sheets. He grinned. And you're the storm. But storms brew twists. November brought the subpoena. Derek countersuing me for corporate espionage, claiming I'd stolen firm IP for HaleNet. Court date set for December. Headlines screaming, Tech Wars, Betrayal or Brilliance? My lawyer, a shark from Brooklyn with a Yankees mug, warned, Discovery's a bitch. He'll dig dirt. He did, unearthing my erratic psych eval from NYU stress, painting me unstable. Juries ate sob stories. Panic clawed. This life couldn't end in cuffs. Desperate, I dove into Derek's past deeper than planned. Public records led to a sealed file. His sister's overdose in '92, ruled accident, but whispers of foul play. Digging via Marco's dark web contacts. Risky, untraceable, I hit pay dirt. Emails from a PI Derek hired, concluding accidental OD, but user supplied suspiciously pure product. Supplier? A Voss family associate, hushed with payoffs. Cover up. Derek hadn't just betrayed me. He buried family blood to protect the name. The revelation hit like vertigo. In my first life, I'd pitted his tragic backstory, let it humanize the monster. Now, ammo. But wielding it felt vile, exploiting grief for gain. Do it, Marco urged. He'd do worse. Sleepless, I drafted the leak. Voss airs hidden scandal, family death cover-up? Timed for court eve, it'd tank his credibility. Yet doubt festered. Over diner eggs at 3 a.m., I confessed fragments to Marco. Not the rebirth, but the haunting visions driving me. Feels like I've lived this before, lost everything. He listened, thumb tracing my knuckles. Then rewrite the ending. But don't become him. Too late. The leak dropped, Derek's presser crumbling under reporter fire. Mr. Voss, your sister's case reopened? He snarled denials, face gaunt on TV, the charm eroded to bone. Sympathy swung. Public saw a cornered wolf, not a snake. My subpoena hearing loomed, judge eyeing me like a gold digger. December chill seeped into bones as I prepped testimony. HaleNet stabilized at 50K users, features iterating, voice chats, gig escrow, but revenue lagged, bills mounting. Mom called, voice steel. End this, Jasmine. For your father. Her words echoed Dad's, but twisted. Was I avenging or destroying? Court day dawned gray. Federal building a fortress of marble and menace. Derek testified first, polished in pinstripes, spinning victim tales. Jasmine was brilliant, but unstable. Obsessed, stealing my work out of spite. Gasps rippled. My lawyer objected, but the seed planted. My turn. The stand a spotlight, searing truth from lies. He mocked my ambition from day one. I said, voice steady. Stole my code, framed me, twice, in ways he'll never admit. I detailed the audits, the deep fake as artistic justice, owning the controversy. America rewards cutthroats, but not forever. Jury leaned in, but Derek's cross-exam gutted. Ms. Hale, your visions, delusions? He waved psych notes. I froze, old shame flooding. Then, impulse, controversial as hell, I pulled the sister file. Ask him about Emily Voss. Purity-tested OD, paid off cops. That's the man suing me. Chaos. Judge banged gavel, sidebar frenzy. Derek lunged across counsel table, roaring, you bitch. Security swarmed, recess called. Backstage, Marco texted, videos live, his freakout. Internet's yours. By adjournment, Voss Unmasked trended, donations pouring into HailNet's legal fund. But the twist gutted me. A juror note to judge, possible misconduct. Turns out, Derek's team bribed a panelist. Whispers of settle or sink. Fed swooped, his empire imploding mid-trial. Christmas Eve, snow soft on Central Park benches, I met Mom at Dad's grave. It's over, I said, tears freezing on cheeks. She hugged fierce. You survived, baby. That's the win. Was it? Derek indicted on multiple counts. Trading, obstruction, the works. Voss and Hale rebranded Hale Investments under new blood. But victory hollowed. Marco pulled back, eyes wary of my methods. Love the storm, but not the wreckage, he said, door clicking shut. New Year's dawned. HailNet hitting 100K, me CEO at 24. Fireworks burst over the harbor, but in the crowd, I felt unmoored, reborn, revenged, yet adrift. The hook of the past loosened, but scars lingered. Freedom's price? Isolation in the empire I'd built. Or so I thought. January thawed secrets. A letter from Derek's lawyer, plea deal offering full HailNet rights back. Clean slate, his confession sealed. For Emily's memory, it read. Pity stirred, unwanted. I burned it, but kept a copy. Mercy? No. Leverage, eternal. Life accelerated. TED Talks, Forbes covers. Marco circling back as CTO with a sheepish grin. Missed the chaos. We laughed, rebuilt, partners in code and quiet nights. Mom beamed at the IPO announcement, shares making her set for life. But the real close? Spring court sentencing. Derek in orange, shackled, eyes meeting mine across the room. No words, just a nod. Broken. I shut you down, I mouthed. He looked away, the mocker mocked. Outside, sun warm on my face, I breathed free. 25 years weight lifted, second chance claimed. Ambition unbroken, betrayal buried. America, land of second acts. Mine, the sweetest revenge. Wait, no, that's the fairy tale. Truth? Twists don't end tidy. No, the twist wasn't Derek's plea or Marco's return. It was the mirror, months post-sentencing, staring back a woman who'd won the war but lost the girl. HailNet exploded, millions in valuation, offices in San Francisco and London, me on billboards preaching, empower the underdog. But nights alone in the penthouse, bought with first profits. Ghosts whispered, was it justice or just another cycle? Flashback to the sentencing aftermath. Derek got 8 years, minimum security in Otisville, white-collar spa with golf greens. His empire? Auctioned off, pieces snapped up by vultures like him. I bought Voss and Hale's name for a song, rebranding to Hale Global. Poetic, sure, but the high faded fast. Media hailed me revenge queen. Podcasts dissected my ruthless rise. Controversy clung like perfume. Deepfake ethics debates. SEC praising my whistleblowing while ethicists called it vigilantism. Ends justify means, one op-ed sneered. In boardrooms, I smiled through gritted teeth, but inside, fractured. Marco and I, patchy. He dove into AI ethics modules for HailNet, preaching transparency, while I pushed aggressive expansions, acquisitions that swallowed startups whole. You're turning into him, he accused one night, over sushi in our loft. Argument escalated, plates shattered, words sharper. I saved us, I yelled. You profited from the dirt. He stormed out, door echoing my isolation. Mom noticed, over Sunday dinners in her Jersey brownstone. Success is hollow without roots, jazzy. She was right, roots I'd uprooted in fury. Dad's old watch, ticking on my wrist, mocked the time I'd wasted hating. Therapy? I tried, spilling sanitized truths to a Park Avenue shrink. Rebirth feels like mania, I hedged. She nodded, prescribed journals. Pages filled with rants, Derek's laugh, Pill's bitterness, the subway jolt back to 98. Summer 99 brought the real gut punch. A HailNet user email, anonymous, flagged by security. You think you won? Check the family tree. Attached, a DNA report, mine. 23andMe precursor, hacked results. Paternity? Not Hale. Derek Voss, 99.8% match. My uncle? No, closer. The math. Mom's affair with Derek's father, pre-marriage. Hushed to protect legacies. I was Voss blood, tainted. Rage, denial, vomit in the sink. Called Mom, voice steel. Explain. She sobbed, story tumbling. Young widow, lonely nights, Richard Voss's charm mirroring his son's. A mistake, baby. Your father, Real father, knew, forgave. But the board? They'd sniffed it, used it to sideline Dad, elevate Derek as true heir. My pitch theft? Personal. Derek eliminating the bastard rival. World tilted. Revenge? Incestuous farce. I confronted the prison, glass partition cold between us. Derek, grayer, smirked. Surprise, niece, or should I say sister? Knew all along. That's why I crushed you. Hale blood's weak, Voss runs deep. Horror choked me. You let me rot for that. Family sticks together, he drawled. Or crushes threats. I left shaking, drive home a blur. Marco waited, pieced it from my face. Whatever it is, we fix. But fixing meant dismantling. Public mea culpa? No, too raw. Instead, controversial pivot. I open-sourced HaleNet's core, free for all, crippling profits but empowering millions. Stock tanked 40%, board revolted. Suicide, they barked. Mercy, I countered. For the dream, not the dollar. Fire sale followed, layoffs, Marco quitting in protest. You're self-destructing, Jazz. Alone again, I hit rock bottom. Bottle of gin, rooftop ledge echoing my first end. But the city lights? They pulled me back. Not again, I whispered. Dawn brought clarity. Twist wasn't curse, it was key. Voss legacy? I'd burn it cleaner. Fall rebrand. HaleNet became OpenForge, nonprofit hybrid, free tools, revenue from premium ethics audits. Users surged, forgiveness and sign-ups. Mom and I healed over therapy doubles, her apologies weaving us tighter. You're Hale through heart, she said. Derek? Appealed from inside, claiming new evidence. My DNA, alleging coercion. Tabloids frothed, scandals blood tie. I testified again, owning it. Blood doesn't define monsters. Actions do. Jury saw through, appeal denied. Last I heard, he rotted in gin pop, charm worthless. By winter, OpenForge stabilized, partnerships with NGOs, TED Prize for Radical Redemption. Marco returned, chastened, missed the rebuild. We co-led, no romance, just respect, the best kind. But the deepest twist? In spring 2000, a package, Emily Voss's diary, mailed anonymous from Otisville Connections. Pages chronicled her accident. Derek's pushes for one more line, covering tracks to inherit clean. He'll kill for the throne, she wrote. Proof sealed his fate. Feds reopened, adding murder charges. I burned the diary, ashes to wind. No more cycles. America's churn, betrayals, comebacks, forged me unbreakable. Ambition? Not mocked, but mastered. Shut down? Hell, I rewrote the game. Yet echoes lingered. Late nights, code glowing. I'd wonder, if I could reset again, would I? Probably. Second chances are addictive. Third, tempting. Years blurred after that. OpenForge a beacon in the dot-com boom bust, surviving the 2001 crash by sheer grit and open-source ethos. By 2005, we powered half of freelance America. Writers scripting from Brooklyn basements, coders collaborating cross continents, artists auctioning direct. Me? Jasmine Hale Voss, hyphenated in defiance, CEO with scars as stripes. Forbes 30 under 30, retroactive laugh, but the real badge? Mom's pride, her hand in mine at galas, whispering, you did it, baby. Marco and I, evolved, best friends, occasional flings when wine loosened guards, but mostly collaborators in chaos. He married a biohacker in '03, twins named after algorithms. I toasted at the wedding, anti-spoiling them with VR kits. No regrets. Love's a distraction in empire building. My family. The users, the team, a chosen tribe fiercer than blood. Derek festered in Supermax after the murder bump-up. Life without parole, appeals exhausted. I visited once more, 2002, Curiosity's curse. He looked hollowed, orange jumpsuit swallowing frame. Come to gloat, kin. Venom dulled to drip. No, I said, pressing the intercom. To end it. I slid a photo across. OpenForge HQ, diverse faces beaming. Your throne? Glassed over. Voss means nothing now. He stared, then chuckled. Broken glass. You got the fire, Jazz. Pity it's pointed wrong. Last words, maybe truth. Fire burns both ways. The controversial decisions? They haunted headlines longest. Deepfake fallout birth laws, AI disclosure mandates, ethics boards I chaired. Vigilante or visionary? Panels debated. I owned the gray. Revenge forged me, but redemption refined. Twist of bloodline leaked in '04 memoir. Blood Code, a reborn reckoning. Bestseller, therapy on pages. Critics called it tabloid trash. Readers? Catharsis. Mom co-wrote the foreword, her voice steady. Forgiveness starts within. By 2010, Hail Global spanned continents, but I stepped back. Exec chair, mentoring startups in underserved hoods. Queens Walk Up, Museum Peace, Airbnb for dreamers. The subway ride that reset me? Daily pilgrimage, grounding in origins. Marco's warning proved prophetic, wreckage lingers. Sleepless spells brought pill phantoms, Derek's laugh and wind. Therapy evolved to EMDR, processing the unlived life. My first death, a suicide born of surrender. You didn't fail, Shrink said. You survived, reloaded. Highs balanced lows. 2015, OpenForge IPO, me ringing the bell solo, mom in front row beaming. Proceeds funded scholarships, Hail Sparks for girls in tech, no legacy required. A kid from the Bronx pitched her app there, network for immigrant moms, raw as mine once was. I invested, watched her soar. Echoes of self. The final twist? 2020, pandemic pivot, OpenForge's lifeline, virtual hubs for gig workers furloughed. Billions connected, but isolation echoed my old spiral. Marco, graying, called history rhymes jazz. Don't forget the hook. He meant the pills, the rain-slick floor. I didn't. Instead, I wrote this, manuscript for the next gen, unvarnished. Ambitions mocked, I'd tell them, but mockers fall. Rise anyway. Now 2025. Wait. No, this is 98's echo, but time loops loose. I'm 50, curls silver-streaked, eyes still fire. Penthouse view? Hudson at dawn, city stirring. Coffee black, notebook open. New idea, blockchain for truth. Unfakeable histories, burying lies forever. Derek died in 22, cancer like dad's, poetic rot. No tears, just a donation to OD prevention in Emily's name. Mom passed gentle in 18, tulips on stone. Marco's kids call me Aunt Code. His wake toast in 24. She shut down the mockers and built the world. Legacy? Not thrones, but sparks. Controversial? Hell yes. Deep fakes, leaks, blood bombshells. But in America's arena, where betrayal's sport and comebacks creed, I played to win. Shut down the man. Did, but the real shutdown? My doubts. Hook's End. I died once, reborn fierce. Lived twice, loved messy, lost plenty. But here, typing finale, I breathe easy. Second chances? Priceless. Third, if fate dials, I'll answer. Notebook ready, fire lit. The end? Nah, just intermission. Ambition endures.